Most LSAT students treat reading comp like it's the monster under the bed, something to avoid until they absolutely have to face it. Maybe you've tried highlighting every single word or underlining like a mad scientist. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you just can't learn reading comp. But guess what? That's all wrong. In fact, doing more, highlighting, taking endless notes, even practicing with the wrong materials, that's exactly why you're stuck. And today, I'm going to show you how doing less can help you crush LSAT reading comp. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to approach it with confidence, precision, and zero wasted effort. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I've coached thousands of students to reach their dream scores. I personally went from a 152 to a 175, and along the way, I discovered something counterintuitive. Mastering reading comp isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter, and sometimes it's about doing way less. Now let's start with the elephant in the room. Most students overcomplicate reading comp. They think if they take detailed notes, highlight half the passage, and analyze every word, they'll magically get it. But that's a lie. Picture this. You're in the middle of a reading comp passage, you're furiously underlining, trying to make sense of everything. Then you glance at the clock, and you find you've burned 3 minutes, but you barely understand what you just read. Sound familiar? This is what I call information overload. You're cramming in details when what you really need is a clear framework. Here's the truth. Every LSAT passage boils down to 3 things. What's the main idea? What's the author's purpose? And what's the tone? Everything else is just noise. If you can train your brain to find those 3 things, the questions become exponentially easier. Now here's a dirty little secret most prep companies won't tell you. The tools you're using to study might be setting you up for failure. If you've been relying on slick highlighting and note-taking tools on fancy platforms, you're in for a rude awakening. The official LSAT tools are actually quite clunky and feel like they were designed in 2003 and haven't been updated since. If your entire strategy depends on third-party tools, what happens on test day when you're stuck with LawHub's glitchy interface? That's why I tell my students to ditch the crutches. Instead of relying on tools, train your brain to approach reading comp with a streamlined process. First, you skim for the main idea, then you note the structure, and finally, you read with a purpose and asking yourself, what is the author trying to do? The simpler your approach, the less the tools will matter. Now, another trap is thinking you can prep for reading comp by reading The Economist or Scientific American. And I get it. It might sound logical. These are dense and they feel academic. But the problem is, LSAT passages are written to be boring, dense, and intentionally confusing in ways no magazine could ever replicate. You don't need general reading practice, you need targeted LSAT practice. And there are over 400 official LSAT reading comp passages available. That is more than enough to prepare. My advice is to use the old ones and read them everywhere on your commute, at the gym, even while you're waiting in line for your coffee. Then you save the newer ones for full timed practice tests. Because LSAT reading comp is a game, and you need to practice with the actual game pieces, not the knockoffs. Now, before we go any further, if you're serious about improving your LSAT score, don't go it alone. I've helped thousands of students master strategies just like these through the LSAT Unplugged coaching programs. Whether you're aiming for a 165 or a 175, we can create a personalized plan to get you there. You could check out the links below to book a call with me and my team to make your dream score a reality. Now, here's one more advanced tip. Rewrite difficult passages in your own words. This one's a real game changer. Let's say, for example, you're stuck on a tough passage. Instead of panicking, simplify it and break it down. What's the argument? What's the structure? And who thinks what and why? Most passages actually follow predictable structures like old view versus new view, or 2 perspectives that are later reconciled. Once you see the patterns, the questions practically answer themselves. Now, I know this can feel overwhelming, but I've got something for you that'll make it a whole lot easier. My free Easy LSAT cheat sheet breaks down the strategies like these into simple, actionable steps. Again, it's totally free, and you can grab your copy right now using the link below. If you want to study smarter, not harder, this cheat sheet is for you. Now, let me leave you with this. LSAT reading comp is not about being a speed reader or a detail-obsessed annotator. It's all about working smarter, focusing on structure, and training yourself to see what matters most. If you're highlighting every line or taking exhaustive notes, you're actually working against yourself. Instead, focus on the main idea, the author's purpose, and the tone. With practice, you'll not only master reading comp, you'll own it. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.